failure is always an option. It's sort of a mental attitude about critical thinking and curiosity. It's about mindset of looking at the world in a playful and curious and creative way. In the spirit of science, there really is no such thing as a failed experiment. Any test that yields valid data is a valid test. Let's get on our knees and pray. I don't know to whom. Is there a patron saint of ballistics gel? Deadlines refine the mind. They remove variables like exotic materials and processes that take too long. The closer the deadline, the more likely you'll start thinking way outside the box. Whether it's the experiments on MythBusters or my earlier work in special effects for movies, I've regularly had to do things that were never done before, from designing complex motion control rigs to figuring out how to animate chocolate. New York State is giant and has some of the most beautiful landscape on the eastern seaboard. There is so much history in New York State, from the Erie Canal to the Catskills, the birth of American stand-up comedy. We're not leaving here without Buster, man. Leave no crash test dummy behind. The internet is probably the most important technological advancement of my lifetime. Its strength lies in its open architecture and its ability to allow a framework where all voices can be heard. In theory, cars are fairly simple. If they don't start, it's either the fuel system or the electrical system. Teach yourself about the path of each in your engine and tracing it is fairly straightforward. But at the beginning, mastering each new system seems like an unreachable shore. The car is effectively a black box. The best case scenario is that the glass shatters in my face. How do you think that makes me feel? Mostly I make lists for projects. This can be daunting. Breaking something big into its constituent parts will help you organize your thoughts, but it can also force you to confront the depth of your ignorance and the hugeness of the task. That's okay. The project may be the lion, but the list is your whip. I've learned over decades of building that a deadline is a potent tool for problem solving. The skeptical community is absolutely near and dear to the MythBusters' heart, and there's no small reason that they've embraced us. That's our people. That's the way we like to think. Being a geek is all about learning the inventories of things. Bigger is always better. Of course, I love tools. I also love arranging them, to the point where I came up with a name for my organizing metric: first-order retrievability. The fact is that the British Museum had a complete specimen of a dodo in their collection up until the 18th century. It was actually mummified, skin and all, but in a fit of space-saving zeal, they actually cut off the head and they cut off the feet and they burned the rest in a bonfire. I reject your reality and substitute my own. I'm a lifelong movie addict, and one of my favorite projects is making replica props and costumes. Nearly every one of these, from our 2D2 to Hellboy's revolver, ends with the paint job. And it's not just cosmetic. The paint literally tells a story: what this thing is made of, where it's been, what it's been used for, and for how long. I think one of the defining moments of adulthood is the realization that nobody's going to take care of you, that you have to do the heavy lifting while you're here. And when you don't, well, you suffer the consequences. Remember kids, I have life insurance. I wouldn't say Jamie is an evil genius. I'm not sure he's evil, and I'm not sure he's a genius. I'm not gonna shoot anyone with the pellet gun, not unless I have to. When I finally got up to Industrial Light and Magic to work on the Star Wars movies as a model maker, it felt like dying and going to heaven. The coolest toys don't have to be bought, they can be built. In fact, sometimes the only way they'll ever exist is if you make them yourself. Again, like I said, my life has been about being fascinated by objects and the stories that they tell, and also making them for myself, obtaining them, appreciating them, and diving into them. I've always thought something that makes you laugh, it makes you laugh because there's a little bit of truth to it. Firemen have the coolest toys ever. I like to work fast. I despise not having the right tool, or, worse, knowing I have it but not being able to find it. It's a pointless delay that wrecks my pace and mood. Lists are how I parse and manage the world. There is no dignity in television. There's this group online that I frequent. It's a group of prop crazies just like me called the Replica Props Forum, and it's people who trade, make, and travel in information about movie props. I am now standing in a mixture of cooling fluid, gasoline, and cola. The only thing that differentiates you and me from a couple of 14-year-old pyromaniacs is ballistic glass. I'm always going to be making costumes. It's one of the ways I relax my brain. In addition to the pleasure of having the piece, there is a deep and abiding pleasure for me assembling something in my head, learning to know something in its totality in my head, and then putting together all the constituent parts into a cohesive whole. The idea of an ordered and elegant universe is a lovely one worth clinging to. But you don't need religion to appreciate the ordered existence. It's not just an idea, it's reality. We're discovering the hidden orders of the universe every day. I would have to say that looked like it hurt. Let's blow some stuff up. Am I about to feel really, really stupid? My advice is keep your lips away from the spinning things. I have some ideas on how to fix that. They're not very good ideas, but at least they're ideas. I just had one of those, what the hell are we doing, moments. Isn't television glamorous? Jamie doesn't like to do anything hastily, and I like to do everything incredibly hastily. So therein you have the dichotomy of our patterns. Jamie's gonna go take a break now, and I am going to continue the ongoing process of making a fool of myself and go ahead and try it myself. My dignity and good television, they'll never meet. Stand back, I gotta get some rocket fuel out of the fridge. That aesthetic of the Star Wars universe, the do-it-yourself, hot rod ethic that George Lucas exported from his childhood, is exactly the same kind of soul behind what we do and build for the show. It may not look pretty, but it gets the job done. That's the show. It's like 5 minutes of science and then 10 minutes of me hurting myself. Visit our website for more quotes, quoting.com.